Shanghai, the biggest Chinese city with population of 25 million, is in lockdown. And it's strict. People are not allowed to leave their homes, not even to buy food, and they have to rely on government supplies and private deliveries. But there aren't enough people to deliver those, and so people are running out, and they have to ration whatever they have left. The only time you can leave is for mandatory COVID testing, and if you test positive, you will be sent away to a mass quarantine facility that reportedly lacks running water and basic sanitary conditions, and you won't be able to come back for several weeks. Even children that test positive are separated from their parents and sent away on their own, and people are not happy about that. This all is happening while China has about 20,000 new cases per day, while the UK, with roughly 20 times smaller population size, has 3 times as many new cases, but zero COVID restrictions. And meanwhile, people in Shanghai are not just running out of food, but they're also running out of money. Because they can't work, they have no income, and they're not able to pay for their mortgage and debt payments. And since Shanghai is a key hub for the Chinese economy, the entire country is taking a hit. The biggest shipping port in China is in Shanghai, but there aren't enough people to work there. And so the import of stuff into China and the export of products out of it is slowing down, and everyone's gonna feel the impact of that. But here's the question. China's leadership has famously built its stability on the fact that it makes people happy. It improves the living conditions, it improves the economy, it makes sure that everything is running smoothly. And people, in return, don't question the government. That's basically the deal. So why would China risk making people angry? Why would it break its own economy and keep hundreds of millions of people locked up while the entire world has learned how to live with COVID in one way or another? Since the very first emergence of the virus in January 2020, the Chinese government adopted what's called the Zero COVID policy, basically a strategy to eradicate the virus and contain it as soon as it appears, mostly using swift lockdowns and aggressive restrictions. And for a long time, this was a success. As Europe and the United States were failing to deal with COVID throughout 2020, China was opening up and people were able to live normal lives again. And the government made sure that everyone in China and outside of it knew how unique and successful this strategy was and who was responsible for it. It was another opportunity to show to everyone that the Chinese model is superior to the chaotic, slow Western democracy. But in 2021, as the Delta variant arrived, this started to change. China was not able to maintain zero cases anymore, and it was forced to start implementing more and more lockdowns again. And since March this year, it's experiencing the biggest COVID outbreak it has ever seen so far. And people are tired. But the problem is that the Chinese leadership can't just abandon a strategy that it has been proudly promoting for the past 2 years, especially as it's just failing. They cannot look like they were wrong because in China, the leadership is always right, or at least it has to look that way. If there is anything other than the constantly growing economy that helps the Chinese government to keep the country stable, it's the perception that the government is strong, in charge, and always knows what to do. And if the economy and people's comfort and freedoms have to be sacrificed in order to keep up this appearance, at some point China will have to abandon its zero COVID policy anyway. But even though it's clearly not working, it's not gonna happen anytime soon. Right now, the Chinese government is stuck. It cannot completely change course because that would make them look like they're panicking, and that could potentially endanger their position. But they're also gradually losing the public support, and that might endanger their position as well. And so before things can change, they just have to ride this wave out, whatever the costs.